My name is Jennifer Walker, and this is the story of how love can blind you, betray you, and ultimately transform you. I arrived in London with nothing but a suitcase full of ambition and a heart hungry for success. The prestigious investment firm had been my golden ticket, my escape from the predictable life I'd left behind in Boston. The Mayfair cocktail lounge sparkled with wealth and opportunity that night. Chandeliers reflected off polished marble, and the air hummed with sophisticated conversations. I stood near the window, nursing a glass of champagne, feeling like an outsider who was about to prove she belonged. That's when Segan Oladipo walked into my life. He wasn't like the typical London businessman. There was something magnetic about him, a confidence that wasn't arrogance, but a deep-rooted understanding of his own worth. When he approached me, his voice carried a melodic Nigerian accent that made every word sound like a carefully crafted story. "Jennifer Walker," he said, reading my name tag. "American investment banker making her mark in London?" Our conversation was electric. Segan spoke about sustainable development projects that challenged everything I knew about traditional investment strategies. He wasn't just selling an idea, he was painting a vision of a world where financial success could mean something more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. I found myself drawn to him, not just physically, but intellectually. We were both outsiders in this elite financial world. Me, the ambitious American girl. Him, a Nigerian-British entrepreneur fighting against systemic barriers. Our connection felt like more than just a chance encounter. By the end of the evening, something had shifted. The professional facade we both maintained couldn't hide the spark between us. I told myself it was just professional interest, but deep down, I knew something more profound was beginning. Little did I know, this moment would be the first domino in a chain of events that would completely deconstruct everything I believed about love, trust, and success. Our professional meetings became something more. What started as collaborative discussions about investment strategies gradually transformed into intimate dinner dates. Segan knew exactly how to blur the lines between professional admiration and personal connection. He would tell me stories about his journey, how he'd navigated the competitive London business landscape as a Nigerian-British entrepreneur. I shared my own story of climbing the corporate ladder from a working-class Boston neighborhood. We were two ambitious souls, finding unexpected connection in each other's narratives. Our relationship accelerated with an intensity that should have been my first warning. Late nights discussing market trends became passionate conversations about our dreams. I found myself neglecting professional boundaries, becoming increasingly emotionally invested in Segan. But there were moments. Unexplained late-night calls. Mysterious business trips. Sudden mood changes that I chose to ignore. Love has a remarkable way of making you blind to warning signs. I was so captivated by Segan's charm, so entranced by our connection, that I willfully ignored every subtle indication that something wasn't right. I told myself these were just the complexities of dating a successful entrepreneur. I was building a life with a man who seemed to understand me more deeply than anyone ever had. The red flags became background noise to the symphony of our passionate relationship. Little did I know, the melody was about to change. The first crack appeared on a crisp October morning. I was reviewing some financial documents when I noticed an irregularity in Segan's business reports. At first, it was just a small discrepancy, a number that didn't quite align, a transaction that seemed out of place. Cryptic phone conversations began to pile up. I'd hear Segan speaking in hushed tones, switching between languages, his voice dropping to a whisper when I entered the room. The phone would quickly be silenced, with a smile that no longer reached his eyes. Everything changed the day I ran into Marcus Adebayo, one of Segan's former business associates, at a coffee shop near Canary Wharf. The look of surprise in Marcus's eyes wasn't just about seeing me, there was something deeper. Something unspoken. "Jennifer Walker," he said, his voice careful. "I didn't expect to see you here." The way he said it felt like a warning rather than a casual greeting. My investigative skills, honed by years in high-stakes financial analysis, kicked into overdrive. I began a discreet investigation, using every professional contact and digital resource at my disposal. Each layer I peeled back revealed more questions than answers. Bank statements. Email trails. Offshore account records. Each document told a story different from the one Segan had been spinning. The inconsistencies were no longer subtle, they were glaring, impossible to ignore. I found myself constructing an elaborate fantasy, refusing to see the truth that was gradually revealing itself. The most dangerous lies, I realized, are the ones we tell ourselves. I was desperate to maintain the image of the perfect relationship, the dream I had built with Segan. But truth has a way of breaking through, no matter how hard you try to keep it at bay. And my truth was about to shatter everything I believed about love, trust, and the man I thought I knew. The evidence was damning. Multiple offshore accounts. Complex financial transactions that violated every ethical standard I believed in. Secret business partnerships that painted a completely different picture of Segan's professional life. I confronted him on a late night in his Canary Wharf office. The space that once felt like a sanctuary of our shared ambitions now felt cold and sterile. Segan sat behind his desk, a study in calculated calm. "Explain," I demanded, spreading the documents between us. His manipulation was immediate. Gaslighting became an art form in his hands. He spoke of misunderstandings, of complex business strategies I couldn't possibly comprehend. Each word was a carefully constructed lie, designed to make me doubt my own meticulous research. But I was no longer the naive woman who had fallen for his charm. My years of financial investigation had taught me to read between the lines, to see beyond the smooth talk and charming smile. "I know everything," I said quietly. The moment the words left my mouth, I saw it, a flicker of panic in his eyes. The carefully constructed mask began to crack. Every lie he had told was a masterpiece of manipulation, and I was finally seeing the truth. The man I thought I knew was nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. And I was about to expose every single layer of his deceit. The truth unraveled like a carefully knitted sweater suddenly pulled apart by a single, relentless thread. My investigation went deeper than Segan could have ever imagined. Financial records, communication logs, hidden connections, each piece of evidence painted a horrifying picture of systematic deception. I discovered multiple relationships, both personal and professional. Segan wasn't just unfaithful to me, he was a master manipulator who had constructed an entire network of lies. Business partners in Lagos, romantic interests across London, financial connections that spanned continents. Each discovery felt like a knife twisting deeper into my heart. The professional world I'd worked so hard to enter began to crumble around me. Rumors spread quickly in London's financial circles. Whispers of my investigation reached ears that were never meant to hear them. I knew I was standing at a precipice. One that would define my entire career. My Boston training, my years of financial discipline, became my greatest weapon. I compiled a comprehensive dossier, meticulously documented evidence of Segan's fraudulent activities. Every email, every transaction, every hidden connection became a piece of a puzzle that would ultimately destroy him. The day I decided to take action was the day I reclaimed my power. No longer would I be a victim of his manipulation. No longer would I allow myself to be silenced or manipulated. I contacted the financial regulatory authorities, presenting my evidence with the same precision I'd once applied to my investment strategies. Each document was a testament to the truth, each page a declaration of my refusal to be broken. Segan's empire began to crumble. The carefully constructed facade he'd maintained for years started to collapse, revealing the hollow structure beneath. I watched, not with satisfaction, but with a sense of profound liberation. The final hearing was a symphony of justice. I stood before the Financial Regulatory Board, my evidence laid out like a meticulously crafted battle plan. Segan sat across the room, his once powerful presence now reduced to a hollow shell of manipulation. Every detail of his fraudulent network came to light. Multiple offshore accounts. False business partnerships. A web of lies that stretched across continents. I watched as his carefully constructed world collapsed, piece by piece. My professional reputation, which I feared would be destroyed, instead became my greatest strength. Colleagues who had whispered behind my back now looked at me with newfound respect. I had done what few would dare, exposed a system of corruption that had gone unnoticed for years. But this was never just about professional vindication. It was about reclaiming my sense of self. The woman who had arrived in London full of hope and ambition was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone who understood that true power comes from integrity, not deception. I began speaking at conferences, sharing my story. Not as a victim, but as a survivor. My experience became a catalyst for change in the financial world, highlighting the importance of ethical business practices and personal accountability. The scars remained. But they were no longer wounds, they were badges of survival. To anyone watching, remember this: Your worth is not defined by someone else's betrayal. True strength comes from rising above the pain, from choosing integrity over revenge. This is my story. This is my truth. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to Bold Confessions. Share your story. Break the silence.